Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back as well to my autumn series. Check out this mould. In this video, we're going to be using the beautiful pumpkin keyring mould from Moulds and Shapes. Again, it will be linked directly below with your 10% discount. Perfect for harvest, fall, autumn, and of course, Halloween. Cannot wait. Again, linked down below. Now we're going to be making a whole array of different pumpkins in today's video using different techniques. But first, my PPE is going on. We're going to be using mica and inlays and lots of different things because my brain's gone blank. We're using all the things to create multiple different looking. Now the first two pumpkins are going to be filled up with epoxy resin and copper mica powder purely because this was left over from a video I was previously filming, and again I want to get it used up. So the first two pumpkins are going to be filled with epoxy resin with copper mica powder. Now the copper mica powder I'm using for these is the Resin Pro. Guys, there is something about Resin Pro mica powders. Never worked with them, never been sponsored by them. I just absolutely love the Resin Pro micas. I need to make sure they're still even around because I've had these years. Anyway, copper mica powder has gone into the first two pumpkins. Now, this is the powder here. Oh, stunning. Every pumpkin almost is going to be getting a different kind of treatment. So we've got these inlays. I'll leave the video linked here if you missed it. I made it last year or the year before. I made some silicone inlays from a leaf mould. These are gorgeous. We're also going to be using foil in one here. This is the copper foil. It's just craft foil. And all I'm going to be doing here is just dropping down some of the foil and rubbing it onto the mould. Now this is just going to give like a two-toned, multi-layered kind of surface. Once the copper foil is down, now you can, if you want, cover the whole thing with the copper foil, but I'm going to just put it down in patches so that we've still got some blank space. And in that blank space, I'm going to finish off this pumpkin with some dark brown chocolate mica powder, just so that it really pops against that copper foil. So that's a standalone. The top two are going to be sort of similar. This one's out here on its own because once I'd done it, I wasn't feeling it, you know, so I decided not to make two of these. Again, just finishing this one off with the brown mica powder and dusting it all over until it's completely and utterly filled. Now, this project took me about 4 days. It didn't need to, but because I was making everything multi-layered and differently in sections, it felt like it took forever, but absolutely worth it. So the next two molds are going to be getting these silicone inlays. Now again, like I said, I made these silicone inlays myself from a cheap Amazon leaf mold. Silicone doesn't stick to silicone as long as they're different silicones. You do have to be careful though. You do have to be careful. I'm taking that amazing tip that Wendy from Toonfish Crafts taught me, and that is to spray the silicone inlays with alcohol first before you flip them upside down and lay them down in your resin. It really does help reduce air bubbles getting trapped under the inlays. Beautiful. Thank you, Wendy, for that technique, because wow, it really, really does work. This was a little bit fiddly, and quite honestly, I wish I could have fit 3 leaves in each pumpkin, but sadly they were all on the big side and I could only fit 2. So those are done. Now, the next pumpkin is also getting a different treatment to the last. So in this one, we're going with the mica powder, shove it all in, chuck it all in. One of my absolute favorite techniques to use. And we're going in with copper, brown, and bright orange mica powder. Again, no rules with this really. Just dump some mica powder into the mold, and when you're happy with the colors that you've got in there, grab your isopropyl alcohol and spray liberally. So I gave this about 4 good sprays to get all of that powder kind of, I guess, molding together, blending together, and doing what it does with alcohol. The final pumpkin is getting brushed with mica. That's it. Really simple, beautiful, you know, beautiful results, yet it's a really simple technique. So simply using your mica powder of color of choice, put some in the mould. Don't put as much as me. Don't be like me. I put way too much in. Again, this is the Resin Pro Copper. Dusting it. I have to be so careful here because those leaf silicone inlays, that's all still very wet. And I've kind of done this around a little bit back to front, if I'm honest, because I don't want any of this copper powder going into those. So gently, gently, gently. I was just paranoid. I was just going to flick some powder over there. But again, I put a little bit too much in, so this is just me scraping it out. So the top two have just been coloured resin. The right-hand side, we've got foil and powder. We've got two with silicone inlays. We've got one where we chucked the powder in and hoped for the best. And then bottom left-hand side, we've brushed the mould with mica. These are all going to give completely different results, but all within the same colour ranges and all really gorgeous and autumnal. So at this point, we can fill up 3 of the pumpkins, and they're just gonna be filled up with a dark brown, chocolate brown mica in resin background. So again, bottom left, bottom right, and the right hand side middle can all now be filled up. They're done, they're ready to go, ready to be filled. But the top 2 and the leaf silicone inlays, they can't be touched now until tomorrow. So again, like I said, this took me a few days because everything just felt like I was doing it like proper hickledy-pickledy and like back to front and inside out. But I don't know if there was a better way to do this, but here we are. These are now filled and it's a case of walking away for 24 hours. But getting ahead of myself, before I do that, I took my gloves off to add some of these absolutely, I mean, these are just, they've made my autumn, honestly. These are the maple leaf glitters from Sharon Kerr at Resin Supplies Den on Facebook here in the UK. I got tons from her. They are beautiful. I did take my gloves off. Now, disclaimer is on the screen because I will always say, no matter what you're doing, wear gloves. But for me to be able to take full control of these leaves and individually place them down in the resin, I felt like I needed to take my gloves off as long as I'm not going to touch this wet epoxy resin. Don't touch it, don't get it on your skin. Contact dermatitis is a real thing. So yeah, I'm just letting you know. Usually I would say keep your gloves on, but it was really hard for me to hold the leaves with the gloves on. So that's it. I just need to put it out there just in case. 24 hours later, now 2 things. It's time to demold these 3 pumpkins, and then it's time to put the second layer on the other 4 pumpkins. So first up, we've got the copper, foil and brown. It was okay. It was much of a muchness. It wasn't screaming out wow to me, but it's not going to stay like that. Of course, we're not keeping them this way. This one for me was it. I love this. I absolutely love this. I've done previous videos. This is earthy, it's rustic. This is the chuck all the powder in together, spray it with alcohol, let it all do its thing, let the alcohol dry out, then pour your resin. Stunning, stunning, stunning results. This one here, again, plain, but we're going to bring it to life. This is the copper mica brushed straight in. Next up, we've got the silicone inlays coming out. So these silicone inlays, if you are new to resin, they will leave a beautiful, identical imprint in your resin, which you can then dust with chameleon powders or chameleon flakes or mica, and then they will appear as a 3D image when you demold. Next up for me, I had another weeding nightmare. I thought with my glasses and my needle tipped weeding pen I would be able to weed out some teeny tiny phrases, like a lot of words in a small phrase, and this is all sped up for you because what a waste of time. I had to ditch it and do it all again. The only one that came out perfectly was that top one. Hello pumpkin. I love it. I love. And then I just gave up. This was me fully quitting. I was just not prepared to go any further. I was losing more vinyl than I was weeding, and for me it just was not worth the stress. But this one here, Hello Pumpkin, it was the star of the show. This one weeded like a dream. The only thing missing from this little vinyl cricket decal is the little wiggly, is it like a wiggly vine on the top of the pumpkin? That's the only bit I couldn't weed. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't need to be there. All right, we can part ways. It's fine. But I absolutely love this. Now, I decided to top coat this immediately purely because I had some more leftover resin that was pretty much setting. And I thought, you know what? Let me show you guys my absolute favorite way to top coat lately. Now, again, this only really happens if you've got leftover resin that needs to be used. But it's so thick. It is almost to the point where it's unmanageable thick, but using a cocktail stick and kind of like dragging it out to the edges really works. And because it's so thick, it's not going over any of those edges. It's such a luxury to get a resin in this state, you know, to catch your resin right at this moment where it's not cured, but it's most definitely not runny in any way. It's boiling hot to the point of nearly being cured, but you've got enough time to get it dragged out across the surface of your piece. It was sticky and gloopy and fussy, but look at this. Look at the state of this top coat. But I knew that one little blast of a heat gun was gonna bring this absolutely back to life and give it the most stunning, gorgeous, hunky, chunky, juicy, domed top coat, because the resin is still super thick, but that heat gun has helped it level out. And I was buzzing, absolutely buzzing. So this is 24 hours later. This is pumpkin number 1 is done. It's done. The rest are not yet, but this one is done. What I decided to do here is stick to the Hello pumpkin. I made it bigger though. I felt like it needed to be bigger on the pumpkins. It was a bit small on that first one. I made the actual file bigger and I just cut a load out because I thought, you know, if this is the only one working for me, I'm not going to stress myself out by trying to weed more, because why? You know, this is what we're looking like. I absolutely love. Now, the same exact phrase is going into these two at the top. These two are the ones that have obviously got that maple leaf from Sharon Kerr at Resin Supplies Den. Oh my, I can't get over, I need these in big. I need them in like 2 inches. I just think they're the most stunning glitter confetti ever, especially for autumn. Now, the final 2 pumpkins that had the silicone inlays in, I'm using Dryad chameleon flakes. These are the Tiny Turner chameleon flakes, but they were sent to me by Wendy at Toonpish Crafts, who is a distributor for the Tiny Turner's flakes and powders. Now, because this was about 3 days later, okay, this resin is absolutely cured rock hard, and the flakes were not sticking to the resin at all. Now, Wendy from Toonpish Crafts often uses like a tacky glue substance to stick her flakes down. Like, I don't have any of that. I need to chat to Wendy and see, you know, watch her videos. Where do I get it? This was me showing you how my my tiny little micro brush was disintegrating in my hand. I guess I've had them so long, they're starting to go off. I don't know, but I couldn't put any pressure at all on my micro brush tool. So I decided to rub UV resin with a gloved hand, of course, one tiny little bead, teeny tiny little bead of UV resin, and rub all over the surface of that pumpkin. Now, this is only going to get 10 seconds under the UV lamp, because what I need to do is bring this surface back to a level of sticky that's going to take the chameleon flakes, right? Because at this point, the chameleon flakes were not sticking to that surface whatsoever. Now, this did do a good job. It really did. The surface isn't wet, like my brush isn't getting UV resin on it, but the resin is still tacky enough to just grab some of those chameleon flakes. It's just, I wasn't in love. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, and I'll say this in any video. If anything doesn't quite go to plan, I will absolutely tell you what I think and what I'm feeling at the time. And for me, I felt like the chameleon flakes would have been better inside the leaves and not around the outside edge of the leaves. But also you'll see the results yourself, so you can tell me what you think as well. Equally, the UV resin did a great job at doing what it did, and it did cling to the surface. Now, these leaves are getting a copper mica powder treatment, and this is where I wish I'd done it reverse. I wish the copper powder went around the outside, and I wish that the chameleon flakes went in to the leaves. But we live and learn, and we do things, and if it doesn't work, we don't do it again. Yeah, here I am just dusting in both of those leaves, but equally I'm dusting that copper mica powder over the rest of the surface that didn't get any chameleon flakes. So at this point, I'm quite happy. I'm nearly done with these 4. All I have to do now is top coat the maple leaf pumpkins. You can just see me here with a lollipop stick, gently dropping in some of that resin. I've got a nice generous kind of like space left in these molds to give it a gorgeous juicy top coat. So top coating the top 2, and the bottom 2 are going to get another layer but black. That black is gonna make the chameleon flakes absolutely pop. So again, we've got quite a combination of different techniques going on here, but really and truly they all combine together, they all work together, they all correlate, there's lots of words. They all go together, all got the same colorways, they've all got the same color schemes, autumnal colorways, using similar products but different. So again, bottom 2, black background, and we are done. Now, what I did go ahead and do off camera, once I had filled these 2 pumpkins up, off camera, I was so in love with the mica powder chuck it all in technique. You know, the orange, the brown, and the copper mica. I was so in love with the result from that one pumpkin that as soon as I filled up these with the black, off camera, I went ahead and filled up the rest of the pumpkins here because I thought, you know what, I'm waiting 24 hours now anyway. I might as well fill these up and do that technique and get me some more pumpkins out of this video, right? Because why not? So again, I used brown mica, copper mica, and orange mica. I dumped little dumps of it into each of those pumpkins that are left on screen empty. And then I filled them with a brown, dark brown background. And this is what we're looking like next day. So, oh my gosh, I absolutely love these maple leaves. I think I get hyper focused and super obsessed with, well, do I think? I know I get a little bit obsessional about particular things, certain things that come my way that I just can't get enough of. That's how I feel about the maple leaves. So Sharon Kerr, Resin Supplies Den, thank you. These are the results of what I did off camera. Just, again, orange, brown, and copper mica, chucked it all in, sprayed it with the isopropyl alcohol to blend it all together, and filled them up with the brown background. I just love how rustic they look, how all the colours blend. Okay, now, I think my expectations of these were too high. Don't get me wrong, I think they're cool. I absolutely love inlay effects. I love it. It's like cling film technique, inlays. It gives that crazy, gorgeous, multi-layered depth 3D appearance. But I just think I got the colours wrong on this. I love the chameleon flakes and I am obsessed with the copper powder. But should I have done it round the other way? I should have, shouldn't I? So that the copper flakes were in the leaves and the powder was around the outside. Okay, around the outside. Okay, Claire, come on. Back to the video. Each and every one of these got the Hello Pumpkin treatment because, like I said, life's too short. I couldn't weed anything else. It was kind of making me want to eat chocolate, and you guys know I'm trying to lose weight. So anyways, Hello Pumpkin went onto each and every pumpkin, even the ones with the inlays. Now, I was toying with the idea of not putting anything on there, and yes, I've covered up the inlays. Claire, what's the point if you're just going to cover up the inlays? Why would you put inlays if you're just going to cover them up? Well, guys, the thing is, I wasn't in love with them, and it's as simple as that. I just wasn't in love with them as a stand-alone piece. So I've put Hello Pumpkin over the surface, and we all know the leaves are there, and if you look real hard you can see the leaves. But yeah, for me, the real star of the show in these were the chuck it all in powders. Truly the one technique that for me stood out as a standalone technique. Even brushing the mold with the copper, bottom left was just brushed with copper. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And so simple. The simplest technique. Get a gorgeous colour, brush it in the mold. Now I'm top coating all of these together using fresh resin. And boy, oh boy, it's so much harder than using sticky resin that is curing up in the cup. But we got there in the end. I only had one to spill off, that one that was spilling off at all times, but we cleared it up. We moved on. It was fine. This is what we're looking like. I absolutely love them. Now, if you are new here, hello. I'm Claire. I have an autumn obsession. And I'm not even sorry. I really am not sorry. Now, when it came to key rings, here's the thing. These were the only gold key rings that I had. So I did have to order more that were more suitable for what I wanted. So I've got a bunch of these rings, just key rings on their own. And then separate in the pot are these. These are 360-degree swivel head clasps. Perfect. Absolutely perfect for what I needed. I wanted the gold because I really wanted it to tie in with the autumn theme. Now, if you wanted to, you could use these other key rings with the clasp at the bottom. This is way too long. It looks completely wrong. But if you're adding on lots of autumnal charms and you want a really, really gorgeous, chunky, juicy, dangly key ring, they would work. But for me, not today. This was enough for me. So again, putting this on just pretty much finished it off. Now, I'm not going to show you each and every keyring of me doing this to each and every one. But, guys, I mentioned a few videos back I was looking for autumn charms. These were the only ones I could find on Amazon, but so many of you sent me links, and they were all very, very similar links to what I'd been looking at. So I thought, do you know what? Go ahead and buy them anyway. So thank you all so much for all of the links that you guys sent me. These are the ones I fell in love with in the first place. But do you know when I was kind of like wishing there was 2, 3 or 4 per charm, but that's when the money goes crazy. That's when you're paying £3-4 per autumn charm, and I can't afford that because no one's gonna want to buy a keyring for £25. Anyway, each of these individual pumpkins, look at this, so cute, got an individual charm attached. Some got 2 charms because some of the charms were smaller. Some got 2, some got 1. I didn't care about the colour. I didn't put any thought into which colour is going on which keyring because, again, no one's got time for that. They were all in the same colour family, being autumn. And it works. It absolutely works. It works so beautifully. I laid the charms down right by the pumpkin, at the top of the pumpkin. You could put them right at the top of the keychain where it attaches to your bag, but I really wanted them seen. I wanted them right down. I absolutely love these, all of the different techniques. Let me know what technique you love the most, whether it was just simple resin coloured with mica and then some leaf confetti over the top, whether it was the foil going in, being brushed with the background of brown, whether it was the silicone inlays, whether it was the chuck it all in. Get all your powders and just chuck it in and spray it with your alcohol, or whether it was the final one where we dusted the mould. So many different techniques to try it with just one mould. Of course, if you want an easy life, you could just pour every single pumpkin in exactly the same way, make multiple of exactly the same thing. But I did want to have some fun and play around with all of the different techniques and see what we could come up with. But they're not new techniques. Hello, we've all been doing them for years, but still. Anyway, thank you so much to Moulds and Shapes for sending this over to me. Remember, guys, your discount code for your Moulds and Shapes molds is in the description box. I will link this mold directly, so you don't even have to go looking for it. The link will be right there for you guys. Thank you all so much if you are still here. This was a long video. We are nearly at 25 minutes. So if you are still here, I appreciate you all so much. If you have not yet, please hit that thumbs up. I hope you've loved this one. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Is there anything I've missed out? Oh my goodness. No. Happy autumn, nearly-ish. Bye everyone. I'll see you in the next video.